Good morning, guys, and welcome to my unboxing and review of the high-grade Gym 3 Unicorn Desert Color version. This kit released in 2012, but as far as I'm aware, this is just a strict recolor of the normal high-grade Gym 3, which came out in 2011. This mobile suit debuted in Double Zeta as a successor to the Gym 2. It had the misfortune of debuting in Double Zeta, which means that it was replaced very quickly by the time of Char's counterattack in Universe by the Jegan, which would remain in service for, I think, 30 years in Universe. I know there were still a bunch kicking around at F91, which is kind of a shame, because I think this is a fairly, I guess, unique take on the Gym. It's a lot wider, it's a lot bulkier, it seems a lot more, I guess, powerful than the standard Gym. But yeah. So this was a premium Bandai release. I got it for, I believe, around $20, which is pretty typical for a basic high grade. And you could tell it's premium Bandai because it's in a monochrome brown, and the art is much worse than on the standard release. Just having a basic art of the Gym 3 there with a CGI render in the background. So, with nothing really on the box to speak of, let's get right into it. Inside the box, we get the standard Gym 3 manual, identical to the one you would find in the retail release, as well as this insert talking about new parts. As far as I believe, the only new runner added is runner G. The rest of these here are just talking about parts to exclude with the usage of these G runner parts. The color guide here just in text form, and then an alternate kind of instruction set for the parts that will use those G runner parts. So, getting into the bags of the runner. There are 4 bags of runners in the box, and in those bags, 9 runners in those bags, alongside this color-correcting foil sticker sheet for parts for the cameras, and some color-correcting parts in black, yellow, and what looks like a very dark olive, as well as this sheet of marking decals for the kit. I'm not going to be using these, because I really do like the Gym 3 design, so I have this set of water slide decals from G Rework that I'm going to be applying to the kit. Now, as for the runners themselves, so these runners were printed in September of 2024. Runner A here is a multicolor runner consisting of 4 colors. This kind of off-white, slightly beige color for parts for the shield armor, including the ankle armor there, the waist. This one clear orange piece for the visor. Some yellow accent parts for the star and the shield, which I believe we aren't going to be using in this kit because the desert color version of the Gym 3 does have a slightly different shield. The collar here, some chest vent pieces, and then some armor sections for the torso and feet here in that dark olive green, kind of brownish color. Runner B continuing in that olive brown for parts for the shield, parts for the missile pods and the shoulders, and some miscellaneous armor parts. Runners C1 and C2 in this gray for some frame parts, as well as parts for the beam rifle, some more parts for, I think, the backpack, and some hand parts. Runner D here in that kind of off-white beige color for parts for the legs, some more armor parts, parts of the shoulders there, and you see parts for the head down here. Runner MP1E for some, it is just a runner for some hand parts. This is a runner that they shipped with a lot of different kind of feddie grunt suits back in 2010, 2011, sometime around there. Because I know I believe the Gym Cannon 2 that I have used this, the Gym Custom used this, the Gym Striker might have used this, I don't quite remember. But yeah, this is just a set of common feddie grunt hands, including a nice set of open expressive hands and some holding hands. Alright, being a high grade from 2012, this is a polycap build. As you can see here from the sheet of polycaps using PC001, and this kit is using SB6 for the beam effects, which are these shorter style beam effects used with round bottoms for just plugging into the beam saber. A lot of gyms use these shorter style beam effects. And the only new runner in this kit, Runner G, including some small armor parts of the back skirt, I think some parts for the upper backpack, but yeah, this is the only set of new parts that comes with this kit. Now with the runners out of the way, I will see you after the build. Alright, welcome back. This kit has been snap built, panel lined, decaled, and top coated using Mr. Hobby matte top coat. I also took the liberty of painting in some of the details to make them a little more color accurate. I didn't have the colors on hand to make the kind of light tan desert color, so the backs of the hands are just in white. Yeah, the build for this kit is pretty standard, older high grade. It's a polycap kit, very minimal inner frame. A lot of the armor is just kind of sandwiched together with polycaps in the middle, and then the next part just kind of slides into the polycap. All of that was fairly standard. There was some nice part separation, like the knee is 2 parts, the leg assembly, the rear part with the vent is a separate part. There's a lot of nice part separation, especially in that backpack. With the nice like power piping detail with the vent parts on top with the beam saber holders. But yeah, this build was fairly standard and very unremarkable. I put this together pretty quickly. After parts cleanup, the kit went together in like under an hour. But yeah. Now aesthetically, this kit, the sculpt is quite nice. It has a very nice, stocky, more robust build, very reminiscent of the Gundam Mark II, which this is very comparable to. The kind of shoulder sculpt is almost identical to it. It does use basically the same backpack. Even in lore, the backpack is essentially the same as the Mark IIs, but with just more mass-produced, kind of cheaper parts. You also have details like the power piping, that kind of very stocky torso, those like sub-generator units in the legs, I believe. Those are all very Mark II-y, even though it originated with the Alex. But yeah, so aesthetically this kit, the sculpt is very nice. There's decent part separation, decent color separation, but there's quite a few color corrections that are necessary to do by yourself, especially on the accessories, which we'll talk about in a second. Color-wise, this color variation of it I think is very interesting. I do like the standard color variant a little more, but this kind of tan, olive, yellow color scheme that has going on is pretty nice. I think it's fairly unique. At least I haven't seen many other suits with it. The closest I've seen is the, at least as far as standard releases go, is the EFSF captured Zaku 2, F2. That has that similar tan color, although it lacks the olive green. Similarly, the Jim Semi-Striker also has that kind of tan color, again, lacking the olive green. But yeah, I think this is a very nice color scheme that fits the kind of the sculpt and shape of this kit, and I do think it looks quite nice, especially after a top coat and decals. Although not strictly necessary, because this is kind of a basic high grade. I think a lot of people will just choose to display it in a straight built-in panel lined form, which is perfectly fine. Getting into the color correcting stickers on this kit, these foil sticker sheet isn't numbered. This is before they started having like English on it, so it's just using the Japanese characters. So I'm just gonna kind of go through it on the order that it appears on the sticker sheet. So the first sticker is this color correcting sticker here for the cockpit door. It's in the same olive green as the rest of the torso, but the color correcting sticker makes it a darker, like kind of black in color. The next set of stickers, 8 total, are all on the leg kind of sub-generator units. It's all of these yellow parts around the outside. So you have 2 stickers per vent section. To go around the outside to put them in yellow. You have 2 wraparound stickers for the base of the neck, which is also in the same, I believe it's in the same olive green as the torso, but you have some stickers there to make it a very dark gray in color. And then 2 stickers for the tops of the knees to wrap around the top of this little detail to make it in the similar olive as the torso, because these are just molded in the tan that the rest of the body is in. And then you have 2 foil stickers, one for this front camera on the torso, and then one for this rear camera on the back of the head. Now for details that are not color accurate that I painted in, the backs of these hands, you get a large number of hands. All of them, the backs are in that kind of frame primer gray, so I just painted them in white. They're supposed to be in tan, I believe. On the legs, these parts right here are also in tan. I painted them in dark gray to kind of express that these are like vent details. On the bottom of the feet, some nice detail, no hollow spaces, but the insides of these thrusters are supposed to be red. I didn't paint them. I'm never going to see the bottom of the feet, so I didn't really see the point. This isn't really a color inaccuracy, but underneath the visor I painted in plated silver, just to make the details pop a little bit. On the shoulder parts, the outside of this vent was supposed to be red. I didn't bother, I just painted the whole thing in gray. On the back, these 4 thrusters, they're just all in that frame primer gray. I painted the insides red. These little vent details on the back, I painted in gray. They're also in tan. On the accessories, for more things I painted in, these details on the back are, these vent details are just in tan. I painted them in gray. These door details are in the same olive that the rest of this front section is in, but I painted them in gray. For the missile pods, these missiles are in the same olive that the entire rest of the housing is in. I painted the tips in seed red. And for the large missile pods that go on the side skirts, these missiles are, or this entire thing is just one big tan piece. So the missile assembly here are the 2 missiles I just painted in seed gray. And on the beam rifle, there is no foil sticker for the scope, which is kind of unusual, so I painted that in metallic orange. I don't know if you can see that, to match the foil stickers on the torso and the visor. Well, the visor just orange, there's no sticker. Alright, for a quick size comparison, here it is next to the high-grade Blue Destiny Unit 1. As you can see, being kind of a standard feddie grunt kit from the mid-UC era, this mobile suit is very standard in height. It will be about the same size as any standard Gundam. Alright, so for accessories, this is everything the high-grade Gym 3 Desert Color version comes with. The accessory spread is identical to what you would find on the standard Gym 3, just in different colors, obviously. Before I go any further, I just want to point out, I forgot to mention, the antennas on the head are very fragile. Be very careful. They're molded into the side pieces that click onto the side of the head sculpt. The right antenna snapped off on me. I cemented it back in place, but it's a little off angle compared to the other one, so just be careful when you handle the kit. Starting with the hand options. You get plenty of hand options with this kit, which is a very nice change of pace if you're used to modern high grades where they don't really come with that many hands. So the hands on the kit, of course, are closed fists, coming on that MP1 runner for standard Federation grunt suit hands. Also coming in on that runner are these 2 nice wide open expressive hands for both left and right side, which is quite nice. For hands that come on the, I think, C runner of this kit, we have 2 standard holding hands. A reminder that the backs of these hands are all in that primer frame gray, and I just painted them in white. And this trigger hand, just for the right side, that I have attached to the beam rifle because there's nothing else to really use it with, so there's not really any reason to detach it from the beam rifle. Speaking of, here is the beam rifle. I believe it's very similar to the beam rifle that would have come on the high-grade Gym 2. A kind of unique sculpt. You can see where the the Jegan beam rifle is developed from this, and you can see that some decent sculpting. Not great part separation. Is pretty typical to have sandwiched together. This handle for the offhand is a separate part, and the barrel's a separate part. As I mentioned earlier, no sticker for the scope, which is kind of disappointing. The handle can swing from side to side. And I don't know if this is unique to my kit, but I think I might have chipped a little bit of the bottom off because the secondary handle is very kind of loose in there. Even after top coating, it hasn't really tightened up that much. Of course, you get a standard Federation, kind of early Gundam style shield. This is an alternate shield from what you would have found with the standard Gem 3 that has a very RX-78 like shield with the same, a very similar shape. It's in red and it has that big yellow cross star on the bottom. The shield is different. It's a little more basic. As you can see, it lacks the star. Instead, just has a little molded recess in the bottom. And it does look quite nice after decaling, and this very large raw for the raw Kylum. Of course, we have the most unique kind of accessories for the Gem 3. It's kind of debatable if these are even accessories, because I think most of the time you're going to want to just leave these on the kit at all times, but we have a number of different missile pods. So we have these standard shoulder-mounted missile pods that just kind of clip onto the shoulders. You have 2 options for the front, either the doors closed, open. You can just swap the front out. The doors don't articulate. This is a high grade. I don't think anyone was expecting them to. But yeah, you can swap it out and have them open if you want to pose it kind of firing off the missiles. And then we have the large missile pods that mount onto the sides of the legs. And if you want to have those firing, this cap piece can just come off, and then you can kind of pose it like it's about to launch the missiles. Remarkably, these missiles are quite large for mobile suits. Normally, when you have suits with missiles, it's either part in a bazooka or something, so it's kind of away in the magazine, or it's mounted onto a backpack or something, or it's micro missiles. Having a large missile pod like this just kind of sticks onto the side is quite unique, and does make this a very kind of different grunt suit compared to what is typical. All right, now for articulation, the head can look very far up, very far down. The neck can kind of, it's on a swinging hinge, so it can kind of pop forward a little bit. Some decent side to, oh, yep, there goes the antenna. All right, so I've plastic cemented that back on. I'm going to be a little more careful handling the head. So it goes from side to side. And of course it can do a full 360 spin. I'm not going to right now because I don't want the antenna to snap off again, but it can. For the arms, the shoulders can swing forward a little bit. Not the best shoulder swing I've seen, but not the worst, kind of decidedly average. It'll get some decent kind of swing on the arm, so it can go forward a little bit. The shoulder cannot really go up that far because the ball joint is built into the shoulder, so it doesn't really allow it to rotate independently. But yeah, so because of that, you can really only get a 90-degree side arm raise, full 360 rotation, a spin in the upper bicep. Oh. Other thing, the hand is also a little loose in the polycap in the forearm. A nice double bend in the elbow, giving almost 180 degrees, so pretty nice bend there. The torso is on a ball joint on the hip, but it doesn't really allow for much articulation given how kind of chunky and stocky this torso design is. So you don't really have any ab crunch to speak of. You get a little bit, but it won't really hold it. And no side to side at all. Of course, being on a ball joint, you can spin it around, should you wish. On the backpack, these thrusters do not these thrusters don't articulate at all. The beam saber holders, which is the other accessory I forgot to mention, but yeah, you have two beam sabers, of course. You can swing them forward and back a little bit, and the power piping is just kind of loose in there, so it will move alongside the beam saber holder. For the skirts, the front skirt is molded together, but you can clip them apart should you wish. I have them still together, so you can lift them up about 90 degrees. Side skirts can barely swing up, so that's probably going to very negatively affect these side leg raise. Back skirt is fixed in place. Now for the legs, there is kind of a pivoting hip joint. I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, you can swing one leg forward and the other back with that hip joint. So for forward kick, the knee kind of gets in the way and collides with the front skirt. So if you kind of, yeah, the best you're going to, yeah, the leg popped off. See, I did notice the connection where the kind of leg joint that goes into the hip plugs into the thigh is quite loose, so the legs do like to fall off. But yeah, your front raise will be about 45 degrees, very poor. Side raise, you can surprisingly get more than the front kick, which I'm kind of shocked by, because especially considering how like little that side skirt moves. But yeah, you get maybe like a 60-degree side raise. A double bend in the knee, but the geometry of this, the geometry of this leg doesn't really allow for a full bend, so you really only get a little more than 90 degrees. The leg will rotate, of course, at the thigh. For the feet, you get some side-to-side ankle movement. It goes out a decent amount, in not very far. The ankle armor can rotate up and down a little bit. No toe bend to speak of. This foot is just one solid piece. It will tilt down quite a bit and up so a shocking amount. I'm actually very surprised. This foot articulation is quite decent. So yeah, overall articulation on the Gym 3 ranges from average to disappointing. So let's throw it up on some poses and see if that articulation is an Achilles heel of this kit. So getting the Gym 3 Desert Color version into a bit of a spin, I'm very surprised. This kit felt kind of loose while I was posing it and stuff, and the legs had a tendency to pop off very often while I was posing. So I was very surprised that it was able to hold this kind of one-legged running and gunning pose, like just no problem. I guess it helps that the feet are very flat and quite large, so it's very easy to balance on it. But yeah, I'm very surprised that it's able to so casually hit such a dynamic pose. A lot of high grades do struggle to hit this, and it's very nice that the Gym 3 can hit it. The desert color scheme also helps it look kind of natural on the ground, especially in this kind of stocky, fully loaded up form with this like kind of very giant, chunky silhouette. It's very unique. And that also continues in the melee option, using the kind of short beam saber effect in this wide-legged pose where he's like preparing to strike. Again, like, a kit so stocky, so robust, just looks kind of natural on the ground. The short beam saber effect actually looks quite nice on these gym suits. I feel like it would look very awkward if it was like a larger standard 1/44th scale beam saber effect part. This kit looks quite nice regardless of what pose you put it on in the ground. The shield looks a little small. I'm not quite sure if it's because the shield itself is small or because the mobile suit itself is so chunky, but yeah, the beam saber is also quite a nice option to pose it in. So getting it up in the air, this kit also looks quite good, kind of flying around in, as per usual, our typical Seed-esque flying downward firing pose. Very aggressive, looks great, very dynamic, except for the right leg. The lack of ability to kind of kick outward and forward really hinders it right here. This looks a little more awkward than it would on a lot of other suits, particularly in comparison to the Blue Destiny Unit 1 that I took a look at last week. Although it still looks good. The inside of the shield is a bit bland, so I'm not quite sure I would use this pose on the shelf. If you do want to do this, you should really paint the inside of that like kind of dark gray to match the frame coloring. But yeah, this is quite a decent option for posing. Now getting it into an all-out like missile firing pose. This really does look nice, especially if you paint the missile tips on the shoulder missile pods red to give it a little splash of color. This looks kind of very, I guess, Gundam Thunderbolt-esque with the FA Gundam and its all-out firing pose. But yeah, this is, I wouldn't say dynamic, but more like, it gives it a lot of presence on the shelf in this kind of pose. All-out firing, very powerful. The red on the missiles, all of it kind of adds to the uniqueness that doesn't really make this even feel like that much of a grunt suit. It's very, very nice, and I wasn't entirely expecting it from the Gym 3. So in conclusion, this is quite a good grunt suit. I was very pleasantly surprised, especially considering the age of this kit. I feel like this is a great addition, especially if you like grunt suits and feddie suits in general. It looks great on the shelf, especially next to other gyms. If you have like it's especially nice if you have it in like a progression from the 1-year war gym all the way up to something like the ECOAS Jegan or the Jesta. Now, would I recommend this kit? So I got this thing for $17. Of course, this was a premium Bandai. This color variant's a premium Bandai exclusive. And if you can't find a premium Bandai, you're going to get scalped. You get it for like $40, $50. Absolutely not for that price. I would recommend the standard Gym 3 if you can't find this color variant. I think that color looks quite nice with the, I guess, like seafoam greenish torso and the nice, like bright red accents on it. That kit can be had in the States for around $20 if you buy it from like a American store like USA Gundam Store or Galactic Toys or New Type. And for that price, you're getting a pretty solid grunt suit. Again, this, like, just looking at it, it almost blurs the lines between a grunt suit and an ace unit. And because of that, this is a kit I would 100% recommend. Just note what you're getting into. It isn't the greatest at posing. It's, at best, average in that field. And the color accuracy is lacking in a lot of the vent details, so you will need to have, like, gray paint on hand to fill that in. And especially if you want to paint instead of using stickers, that would be a good option considering the kind of wraparound stickers on the vents and stuff like that. So that was my review of the high-grade Gym 3 Unicorn Desert Color version. What did you think of this kit? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, give it a like, and if you want more reviews like this, please consider subscribing to this channel. I will see you next week when I take a look at the Master Grade Gym Sniper 2 White Dingo team.